Let's talk about optionals in the Swift programming language. Only optionals may be nil. That's the special nothing here yet value. That value is also used for error returns or places where something failed and it just wants to say we never set this value. Getting the optionals. We declare them, we unwrap them, and we use them in our libraries. Now, you've seen there's two different ways to declare it. Here's the only difference. You are allowed to omit the question mark or exclamation point in certain cases and instead use the one it was declared with. I recommend you always use the question marks and exclamation points. It just saves all sorts of trouble, especially as we go to libraries. As we go to the libraries, we'll find all sorts of routines, especially initializers, that return an optional value. You need to check those optional values against nil before relying on their existence. If optionals seem overwhelming, just remember there are only two errors. You can make an error while writing the code where you use an optional and you were supposed to not, or didn't use an optional and you were supposed to. And you can make an error when you do the unwrapping at runtime and you try to unwrap something that was really nil. While there are only two errors, there are a lot of different error messages that will reflect these two errors. And finally, let's talk about the syntax shortcuts related to optionals. There are a number of shortcuts that incorporate taking an optional, testing to see if it's nil, and unwrapping it in certain circumstances. For example, the nil coalescing operator says, check to see if this is nil. If it's not nil, return it. If it is nil, give me the other value. Optional binding is used where you're looking at a conditional. If the item is not nil, go ahead and set a local variable in that case. It saves a few lines of typing. Finally, we have optional chaining. What that says is fail this whole expression to nil if my optional is nil, otherwise unwrap it and continue. There are a few subtleties with optional chaining. So first, I can make a chain of tests, one after the other in one statement. Second, there's more than just the dot operator that I can use it with. I often use it to check to see if an array has been initialized to anything or if a dictionary key exists. I can use it with any postfix operator. And finally, one subtlety is that if you're using it with the equal operator, the assignment operator, then the assignment operator always evaluates the right-hand side before checking on the left-hand side. In this case, if A were nil, B would still be called, but no assignment would take place. So in summary, nil requires optionals. Only optionals can use nil. There are only two errors while you're working with optionals. And the shortcuts are just syntax. I'm Charles Merriam. Thank you for your time.